Boom shakalaka. It's been a pretty depressing week for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Is there still hope for the future? Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, a lot of very interesting charts for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, including why this week has sucked so bad and could it get any better or maybe worse? Before we get into it, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, click the notification bell, come join us on Twitter through Crypto Love. Push that like button. Now today, Fear and Greed 38, up from yesterday's 37, but down from last week's 50. The overall market sideways, Bitcoin at 26,036, Ethereum at 1672, BNB at 214, XRP 52 cents, Cardano 26 cents, Dogecoin 6 cents, Solana $21, and Tron 7 cents. And when we zoom out just a little bit and take a look at Bitcoin, even though we did have a pretty significant price crash down to this $40,000 by halving trend line, this orange rocket trend line right here. We did break through the 100 and 200 day, the green and orange moving averages to the downside. Right now, Bitcoin is in this larger wedge, finding support on these levels, this $25,000 box level, but breakout from this wedge by about April, the time of the half, and coincidentally, not far off from that $40,000 fair value price of Bitcoin. This is $35,000 for Bitcoin, not far from that $40,000 price. Now, an ascending wedge, generally a bearish pattern, but we'll have to see how this one plays out, because guess what? Bitcoin volatility is finally moving up. The single day increase in Bitcoin implied volatility, the biggest for the entire year so far, and the volatility drought could eventually be over. But it looks like things turn to the downside, which may not be great. Again, we'll have to kind of see how this plays out over the next few days. But Bitcoin seriously challenged a multi-month, multi-contact point trend line from 2023 bottom right down here. And we broke through to the bottom of that. It could be, according to Peter Brandt, a bear signal, or it could be a bear trap as things turn around. We'll kind of have to see how that plays out. But currently, as of right now, Bitcoin is trading below the short-term holder cost basis, which is at 28.6 for the third or fourth consecutive day in a row. Back in June, it traded below for 10 days. But the last time it seriously traded below it, other than since breaking above, similar to the pattern we saw here in 2019, where Bitcoin went from $12,500 down to $6,500. Could we potentially see a 50% cropping of Bitcoin price down to $15,000? I know bears would love that. They would love that, to buy it at $15,000. But by the time the price gets down there, they would be too scared to buy any. Interesting to note that the RSI, the Relative Strength Index for Bitcoin, dropped lower than during the FTX crash here. That is quite shocking to me, considering, I don't know, there's not much scary going on there. So to me, the fundamentals are strong. The chart just took a dive. So eventually the chart would have to catch up with the fundamentals. Now it's possible we're just having a flipped fractal from here, 2017. We take this peak right here, we flip it. That's the bottom trend line, breakthrough to the bottom. Look at this, pretty coincidentally similar. Breakthrough to the bottom underneath there, go sideways for a bit, and then break back up. It's certainly possible, especially when you take a look at this wedge that we're in right now. We could go sideways for quite a while, pretty much until about December. Could continue going sideways before we would have to break up or down out of that territory. But there is a significant trend change to take a look at. This is reducing volatility on the short-term holder cost basis trend line. We can see decreasing volatility, and then it starts to increase in the opposite direction. Same thing, decreasing and increase. But if we take a look, we did just have decreasing volatility. We have a trend change right here. What happens previously? This is right before big parabolic moves for Bitcoin as the trend begins to change. So as we have an increase in volatility, it could potentially send prices higher. This is the line in the sand for Bitcoin, the 50-month moving average. It's a little over 4 years. It's a 4-year and 2-month moving average for Bitcoin. The trend remains pointed up. As a matter of fact, the 50-month moving average has a new all-time high. Go figure. Historically, Bitcoin goes up after a retest holds, like you can see back here in 2015, same thing here in 2019, and even here in 2020. It did break through to the bottom of that last year, but should this hold, potentially could continue moving upwards. Not only that, but the MZ Bitcoin bottom indicator, this blue line right here, the 23.6 fib line, has been pretty interesting support and resistance for Bitcoin since 2013. Right now, we are right on the upper end of that. That would be support for us at the moment. Again, we will see if that holds, because this indicator right here, either the months ahead are going to surprise the entire market that thinks the price is going to go down, or this time is truly different. Why? Well, if we take a look, we have Bitcoin right here, and these green dots, they correlate with when we have TSI crosses. Also, they correlate with pretty much bottoms on the Chinese 10-year, coincidentally. But these green dots occur before massive parabolic moves for Bitcoin. We did just have a cross in the TSI, suggesting that we might have another parabolic move up for Bitcoin. But really, I think everyone's going to be taking a look at this chart right here, the 20-week EMA. We have a weekly close for this, I think, today, to see if it closes above, it would be bullish. If it closes below, it could potentially be bearish short term. Now, medium to long term, it's important to note, bearish should only mean one thing at current prices: buying opportunity. That's right, buy the dip, just like, well, everybody else who's buying it. Because when we take a look on a longer term time frame, the Schiff Pitchfork has had three bases right here on the Schiff Pitchfork. One at $500, one at $4,000, one at $16,000. Well, guess what? That top from the 500 was 20,000. That top from the 4,000 was 70,000. The top from the 16,000, $150,000 to $300,000 per Bitcoin. And if we continue in that same pitchfork, it would only get much, much higher as time goes on. So that's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, push the like button. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.